Good afternoon to all of you. After hearing all of you, I'm very sure I have made the right decision in taking up this. Because the life of a soldier I don't like, but I like to be the soldier in the forefront. Because an elephant makes its way. It doesn't trail any proven way. My classmates, my students, my teachers, all of them know that I'm an elephant. I love to continue that. I always come with my own vision. I always come with my own mission. I'll definitely be benefited and inspired and motivated by sharing the opinion from all of you. I certainly collect everything as suggestion, but the decision shall be mine. That I would like to assure. Two things which I have got to mention. My father was a school teacher, high school teacher. Naturally a middle class family, but still the confidence that he would induce in me is the following, which I have got to share today. That in this part of India, southern part of India, the left hand is supposed to be less significant, whereas only in being in North India now, I learned that people give you water also in left hand. I'm sure Professor Dr. T.S. Rao, and I'm sure at UGC he has understood that people give water in left hand, and at the beginning I used to get irritated. Yeah, but irritated, but still. What I'm coming back, my father always used to tell me, keep your resignation letter ready always in your left hand. On the day you don't like, throw the resignation letter, walk out. So, confidence is always mine. Number one. Number two, I'm sure I always would love to listen to everybody. Everybody I would like to listen, because I always believe in silent execution. I shall not believe in any declarative execution. I want to believe always in the silent execution. In fact, I compelled that Dr. Nagabhushan Garu should come and visit IIIT Allahabad. I think I mentioned it to Dr. Nagabhushan Garu quite many times, and then also to the registrar. I insisted that both of them should bring the Chancellor also, because no interview would select the right person. Within one interview, you cannot really assess what the person, because on that day, that person could always make a show. My motto in my life, my destined goal to all my colleagues have been the simple following, that, please listen to me carefully, that there should be quality in the show, not the show in the quality. Hope all of us have understood. There has got to be quality in the show. Every show, it should have a quality, but there must not be a show in the quality. This is the purpose with which I work. I'm sure somewhere I liked this because of Dr. Nagabhushan's speech. And one day when I was the chief guest for one international conference on a virtual meet, first I had declined to accept this chief guest position. First of all, in the virtual meet, I did not know how effective could be my speech on a subject. And then I accepted because I happened to be the fellow of International Association of Physical Sciences, and that conference was arranged by International Association of Physical Sciences. Therefore, I had to accept. But to my dismay on that day, Dr. Lavu Rataya was presiding that session. So after he spoke only, I asked my personal secretary to get all the details of Dr. Lavu Rataya Garu. I understood the two important things of Dr. Lavu Rataya Garu. One, doctorate in education. Two, a man from the soil. So man from the soil and a doctorate in education absolutely would make a lot of sense. The commitment springs because the man is from the soil and the man has accomplished to reach the level of doctorate degree at that time, and it was very difficult. So I told my wife, look here, this gentleman sounds very good and his speech was very convincing and very touching. On that day, my wife asked, have you fallen in love for him? I said, yes. It is the love at the very first listening. I don't call it a sight. It is at the very first listening, because people, when they speak from heart, we can all make out, like all of you today, all of you. With no exception, everyone has spoken from heart, which anybody can make out at any point of time, because after all, when people speak because of intelligence and people speak because of the brain, there shall be modulation, which can easily be understood by anybody. Heart and emotion always goes, and the truth always comes out when the heart starts speaking. So then my wife asked me, are you really interested? She was also cautioning me, do you want to go to Andhra Pradesh? Are you sure you want to go to Andhra Pradesh? Well then, you left Andhra Pradesh when you were 10 years old, and now why should you not enter back Andhra Pradesh when you are 60 years old? Okay, so invariably, interview did not bring me here. I shall tell you that. What brought me here is my untouched provocation after I just listened to Dr. Lavu Rataya. On that day, it was the event which happened at Vizag, not in Guntur, Vizag. Then I was in Mysore and with my family trip. On that day, Dr. Lavu Rataya wanted to speak to me. I told his secretary, whosoever called me, I'm sorry, I shall not speak to him today because I'm with a family trip. I do not want to mix up the issues. Once I come back to Allahabad, I shall myself call him. And I had given the date. On that very date, I got the call. So that precipitated that I have got to accept this responsibility. Well then, after that, I would love to be silent, but still, sometimes it is necessary. It is not enough to be good. Sometimes becomes necessary to show that you are also good. What happened next was, the ministry was very keen that I should not leave central government. The secretary of Visitor, we were all appointed by Visitor, who is President of India. He mentioned that Honorable President wants that you should not leave. And he said that he has already passed down the necessary instructions to the ministry. I kept quiet. I sent only one. He is President of India. If he tells, if he orders that I have got to be here, certainly I shall accept that. Otherwise, I am committed to go to Vignan. Come what may, I am going to Vignan. People asked me, what are you going to do if you are going to continue for IIIT Allahabad? I said no. Second term is not my imagination at all. Because had Gandhiji survived, had somebody approached Gandhiji, what is your vision and what is your mission for free India, perhaps he also would not have had the answer, because it was his vision was only to get independence for India. He imagined that independent India will definitely march on its own. So my vision for any institution, absolutely for one term, was over at IIIT Allahabad. Therefore, I mentioned that I shall not. Because when I entered into IIIT Allahabad, I was neutral. I did not know any soul over there. None of them knew me. That was all the advantage. And today, I have an institution where everyone knows me and nobody wants to leave me. So under such a circumstance, I cannot be an excellent director for the next 5 years. Because to that extent, I would become partial. I cannot remain impartial, because by the end of the 5th year, if a director or if a vice-chancellor does not come to know who is good and who is bad, he is unfit to be a vice-chancellor. And therefore, once you know who is good and who is bad, you should not continue to be a vice-chancellor, because you would become very partial from that day. So that's the reason which I conveyed very strongly to the ministry, that I shall not accept. Other technical reason, very selfish reason, I have got to court. They were still interested in continuing me. I said no, because by continuing me, you will push me to be beyond 65, and I shall become not eligible to serve India after 65. Therefore, I want to take up a new assignment before I am 65. Well then, they mentioned, why not in any central university, or why not in any other IIIT, or why not in any other NIT? My choice would have remained open had I not been committed to Dr. Nagabhushan Garu. Of course, on the other day, when there was interaction which was happening, what happened was obviously Dr. Devarajalu's very personal, very attached, very motivating way of talking to me. And that really mentioned, okay, there is a resonance in this institution. It is not that the chairman of the selection committee is not resonating with Dr. Nagabhushan's feeling. Okay, that's good. That was an excellent point. And surely the affectionate way with which our outgoing chancellor introduced me, he had the same opinion even on that day. It was in the same room we had the discussion. Only thing was that Professor Devarajalu was on the virtual mode. So I was fascinated. That is all. After that, I do not know whether Dr. Nagabhushan would get embarrassed if I tell that, but truth is truth, that he would call me, or I would call him at least once in 2 days or in 3 days. And every time, naturally, his smile would just touches your heart. Absolutely, there was nothing for us to talk, but still, that smile, and that's all we used to exchange. And then I would tell him, look, this happened. This university contacted me. And I said no. This university contacted me. I said no. And this university contacted me. I said no. And one university which was headed by a pontiff, Swamiji, went to the extent of telling, you have just given a work to Vignan, you have not joined Vignan. Then I told Swamiji, I need not tell you the value of ethics. It is like giving a commitment to a girl, although the marriage has not happened. So I want to be ethical. So the next term, surely I shall be there with Dr. Lavu Rataya Garu, and I'm very happy Professor Prasad very categorically mentioned that Dr. Lavu has got to be for 5 more years. Good. Here I see a wonderful combination of Krishna and Lavu. Krishna, while he represents the ornamental beauty of, in the language of botany, ornamental beauty of the leaves, which is responsible, the leaves are responsible for the photosynthesis. However, what is more important is also the invisible root, which is provided by Dr. Lavu Rataya Garu. So this combination certainly has got to see a wonderful tree growing. After all, a Vice-Chancellor has got to be only a person of responsibility. People mentioned that, welcome to the new post. This is not a post. This is not a position. This is only a responsibility. This assignment is an assignment of responsibility, and what would happen at the end of the term, I shall not explain. Time shall explain. Time should explain. Well, then Professor Chaudhary spoke to me from Bangalore at length on the other day. And then my wife was chiding. You would tell me that I would be on the call, that my wife would be on the call for more than 20 minutes. What is that? You have been on the call for more than 40 minutes. Right. Is he known to you right from the beginning, or is it the first time you are speaking to him? You know, that's what she told. And that was Professor Chaudhary. So I saw that there is a personal attachment of everybody who is associated with Vignan. Today, for the very, very first time I met Dr. Malakundaya. He was so simple. And he said, you have got to be here. That's exactly what I mentioned, what I read also in life. When people start loving, silence starts talking. When people start hating, they shout at their long voice, in spite the person is present in front of you only, as if he is deaf. So we shout to the people, in spite he is present in the very eye front of us, as if he is deaf. And when you fall in love, silence would speak. That's what I enjoyed today. And Dr. Sharath, I had seen him only in the picture. And my chancellor asked me, do you know him? Yes, I had seen him in the picture. Okay. So that is the connection. And Dr. T.S. Rao made it very homely right from yesterday. I was sure Dr. Prasad should be knowing my name. There is no other go, because unfortunately I happen to be the first generation computer science man in this country. And unfortunately, because I was the first generation man, all projects came to me, and all those projects came to University of Mysore, because I was the only person, nobody else was there. So I knew that Professor Reddy Garu would definitely be knowing me. So good, he spoke so high of the entire institution. I'm very, very happy. Well then, I have one point. Institutions which boast of themselves that we have got so many campus placements made really mean nonsense. Because show me one donkey which has died out of starvation anywhere. One donkey? Starvation, death because of starvation. Absolutely no, impossible. But here, if an institution tells that I have a mechanism even to convert a donkey into a horse, that is the institution. Horses remain horses, but donkeys should also be made as smart as horses. That is where training and placement officers would project all the donkeys as horses and they sell the institution. But more surely, as Professor Chaudhary mentioned, Dr. Sharath mentioned, Professor T.S. Rao mentioned, and Devrajula mentioned, the research carried out the institution speaks the height of the institution, because the original contribution of any institution happens because of its contribution to knowledge building. And more the knowledge you add, more skills would automatically get generated. You cannot make anybody skillful without having any knowledge. Skill happens because it is a new way to be searched to combat the knowledge. And after all, I believe in the definition of the skill as the following. Skill is an intrinsic ability of any candidate, any person, which is the way of transforming the knowledge into action, into performance, into product. So skill has got to be acquired, it cannot be taught. Skill has got to be experienced, it cannot be taught. I'm sure this institution would make all its students to acquire this experience and they become skillful. If you get into IIIT Allahabad, about which I should not speak, I said reduce talking. Reduce your lecture classes. Enough, you have spoiled enough. Because today's generation cannot listen to you, and psychologically it is proven also that anybody cannot listen to without any change with a concentrated focus for more than 20 to 30 minutes. It's proven. Therefore, lecture classes should be reduced, and the teaching, the real, pushing the subject has got to happen through transactions. With the transactions, for the transactions, we need the real teaching assistants who are younger in age, because the maximum power transfer can happen only when the load resistance matches with the source resistance, which means the age has got to match. If I also get into transaction class, no student is going to speak to me because I'm so elderly person. Therefore, it has got to be matching. Then every course should also have PP is not practicals. Unfortunately, this country has ruined the practicals in terms of the way the physics practicals are done, in terms of the way the botany practicals are done, with a syllabus. Can you think of a country having the syllabus for practical classes? So this P has got to be practiced, and the same horrible thing has been copied into computer science, that practicals. So it has got to be practice. So lectures, tutorials, the transactions and the practice, the combination in every course shall make anybody not only knowledge generatable but also a person who would experience the skill. I'm very sure gradually this would happen. Please go through the web pages of IIIT Allahabad, which would definitely speak so high about this. And when I presented this before the visitor, immediate response by the visitor was that this model should be followed in all NITs, in all INIs, in all institutions of national importance. Well then, again, I shall not. Time will be there. We shall. I loved one particular statement today made by Dr. Lavu Gattayam, that it is not these people become graduates, but these people are the first recognition in their every respective family coming from this humble rural background. So towards the end of my life, I also wanted to be happy. In fact, I wanted to fully get retired now because I wanted to read Mahatma Gandhi fully. I wanted to understand Mahatma Gandhiji fully. I do not know anything about Ambedkar. I wanted to do that fully, but then this Mahatma Gandhi, this Ambedkar brought me over here and told me that there is a commitment. You have got to do it. Let us do it together. I cannot alone do it. Let us do it together. In the presence of all BOM members over here, I understand that there has got to be trifle. I understand there has got to be difference, but the difference in opinion is only to seek the convergence to find out where the goal point is. The difference in opinion is not to kick the ball randomly in any direction, but take the ball collectively into the goal post. Every minute of 1 hour football game cannot make 60 goals. Every minute cannot be converted into. But then how often you were close to the goal, how often you really terrified your opponent really marks. And I'm very sure. Again, I request all BOM members, and particularly the chairperson, that whatever happens, the high talk, the difference of opinion shall be inside the room. What goes outside the room is the decision. And that decision is always a group decision, not Dr. Lavu Rattaya's decision, or not P. Nagabhushan's decision, or not Chancellor's decision. It is the decision of whole team. So people outside, stakeholders, shouldn't even come to know who was responsible for this difference of opinion, who was responsible for this decision. I request Dr. Lavu Rattaya Garu to provide me such an environment. I am very sure Dr. Lavu Rattaya Garu has always promised me that such an environment shall always be mine, and I have told whether it is Sri Krishna or Dr. Lavu Rattaya, it has got to be inside the room, not handling through a parallel horse outside. I do not like to run a department with a parallel horse, which many vice-chancellors would do, because they make somebody head of the department, but still they run the department to another parallel horse in the department, which I shall not, because to take the institution forward, what is more important is not administration, the trust, the belief. I love to trust everybody. Like all the advantage I had at IIIT Allahabad that I was neutral, like all the advantage that I had at IIIT Allahabad that I did not know anybody, here also I have the same advantage that I do not know anybody. Now I cannot tell that I know Dr. Lavu Rattaya Garu, I know our Chancellor, I know all BOM members, and I know specifically the acting registrar, Professor P.M.V. Rao Garu, but still that does not change the attitude and the direction with which this institution has got to work. The institution is more important, not any individual, and this institution, I am very sure, shall rise to the greatest height. Professor Ramurthy Naidu Garu, right from day number 1, impressed me so very much, and his humble response to every of my mail was so always encouraging. As Professor Chaudhary mentioned, as Professor Devrajulu mentioned, as Professor Sharath, Professor T.S. Rao, Reddy Garu, all of them they have mentioned. Ramurthy Naidu Garu has not seen me just from today. He has seen me from 12 years ago. He has seen me, and he said that, he described that I was one of the pillars. No, I was only one of the person who was also able to carry the load of the institution. I had the rest. I had the opportunity to serve the institution. Opportunity has come to me. Therefore, Professor Ramurthy Naidu Garu shall not retire, shall definitely be associated with all of us, particularly with me and with Dr. Lavu Rattaya Garu also. Well then, let the time decide. the next course of action. And I always live today, because yesterday is not in my hand. Tomorrow certainly is not in my hand. But my hope on this today is that my yesterday's experience shall add to take the right decision today, so that I can be hopeful of a bright tomorrow. But today is mine and I accept. Last. Well, the way Professor Chaudhary mentioned it, with all my love, with all my devotion, I accept all the blames. Because I do not want my faculty to suffer the blame. Because somebody has got to tell the faculty, don't worry, even if it is a failure, failure is mine. You go ahead, you march forward. Had that not been told to me when I was young, I would not have come to this. I would not have taken the challenge. I love those leaders who mentioned, you keep moving, I shall keep giving you the covering firing. I want to do that. I definitely want to do that. I would love to take all the blame. Definitely, what ultimately is behind every blame is a new direction to think forward. So thank you very much. I shall stop at this point because still term is there and still the time is there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I just
Thank you.
have got to thank all of you. Thank you very, very much.